Welcome to WANM Sports, presents the Coach Willie Simmons Show. I'm your host, Calvin Sykes, and joining me is family football head coach Willie Simmons. Thank you for joining us yet another week.
As always, it's a pleasure, Calvin.
So the Florida A&M defeated the Howard Bison 39-7 on Saturday. This pushes you guys' record to 9-1 on the season. So, Coach, what were some takeaways from this week's game?
Well, I thought, first off, with it being senior day, I thought the seniors did a really good job of setting the tone. We wanted to send those guys out the right way. We had a goal coming into the season to go undefeated at home, and for those guys to accomplish that is a huge testament to them. And so I thought we played well in all three phases. Started a little bit slow on offense, but we're finally able to get some things going. Put up 39 points, which is pretty good. Defensively played lights out. Had a shutout going into the final quarter, gave up a late score, and then special teams played a really solid game. So top to bottom, complete game, which is what you want to see during this time of year. As we kind of close the season out, you want to see yourself peaking, and I feel like this football team is peaking at the right time.
So during the third quarter, you gave some reps to the second team on different sides of the ball. So how would you evaluate that side of the team?
Well, again, anytime you can get backups into the game and other guys, like I tell the team all the time, everyone works hard in practice every single day. And as a coaching staff, we worked extremely hard to build quality depth. Of course, with this game, you have injuries, you have all type of unforeseen things, and so you want to make sure you build a lot of depth. And we got some young guys in the game to play. But again, offensively, I thought we played really well. Defensively, again, I can't say enough about the way those guys played. And then against special teams, I thought we played a really solid game as well. So top to bottom, complete game. And then again, it's always good to get some younger guys in, like Rashawn McKay and some of those guys that are the future of this program.
So what worked well in the game plan for the defense since they almost put out a shutout?
Well, I thought they did a really good job of attacking the ball. A good job of stopping the run. It's always a huge emphasis for us, is stopping the run. Try to make the team one-dimensional. And we were able to create some turnovers, have some tackles for loss. So we're very opportunistic. Marquise Bell had his fifth interception of the year. Cortez Reed, a true freshman, had his second interception of the year. And they gave the offense a lot of short fields. And so whenever you can do that with the type of offense that we have, giving us a short field, it makes our job a lot easier. So I just thought top to bottom, top down, first quarter to fourth quarter, those guys played really fundamentally sound football and allowed us to have success on that side of the ball.
So after the game, you called the senior class the greatest senior class you coach. So what makes this group so special?
One, their leadership. A tremendous set of leaders within that group. Guys like Elijah Richardson. He's an old school leader. You look at today's kind of climate as far as athletes and especially the younger generation. It's kind of a get-along society that we live in. Guys really don't like to call their teammates out in front of the other teammates. No one really wants to ruffle any feathers. Elijah Richardson doesn't mind ruffling feathers. He doesn't mind that hard man love that we talk about all the time of getting on your brother sternly, to let him know that you're not meeting our expectations. And so he does that. Terry Jefferson is another guy, graduated twice already, just really embodies everything it means to be a student athlete. Ryan Stanley, to overcome the things that he's had to overcome in this program, to set the records that he's set. Just a great group of leaders. I think that's the one thing that separates this group from groups I've had in the past. We've had some talented senior classes, but definitely not one with this level of leadership and accountability. And I think that's why I made the statement that it's the best senior class I've been around.
So this senior class had endured a lot. So what does this departure mean for the team next year?
Well, one, we got to find some guys to replace their leadership. That's the toughest thing when you look at a group like this. We'll be able to have talented guys. We'll be able to recruit guys that may be as fast as this senior class, maybe as big, maybe as strong. But it'll be hard-pressed to find a collective group of leaders like we've had. And so I think that's the thing that we're going to miss the most from this group, just the way that they've bought into everything that we're trying to build here, the tone that they've set, the expectations that they've set, and basically, them just taking this program by the horns and really just making it their own. And so I think that's what we'll miss. And we have a tall task as a coaching staff to go out and find more guys who can continue to build upon the foundation that's been set.
After the win, your name was mentioned with the likes of Rudy Herbert and Jake Gaither after the win. So how does that resonate with you, being, with those family legends?
Well, it's obviously an honor.
Okay.
But again, I'm definitely one to say that it's undeserving. Those are giants in this profession. Rudy Hubbard is one of the greatest coaches that's ever coached a game. With what he's been able to do, what he did during the course of his coaching career. But Jake Gaither, rather, I said Rudy Hubbard. Jake Gaither is one of the greatest coaches ever. Rudy Hubbard's done something that no other coach before him or after him has done, and that's win an outright national championship as an HBCU. So again, those guys made history. We're winning football games, and that's great. But to try to compare me to guys such as that is definitely too premature. Hopefully, by the end of my coaching career, I will have done some of the things that they did and had the same type of impact on this sport and on this university as they've had. But again, I think right now it's definitely too premature to even mention my name along the likes of Jake Gaither or Billy Joe or Rudy Hubbard.
So after the win, kicker Chris Fadul actually went bald. There was a bet made before the season that you guys would be undefeated going into the Classic. So what does something small like that build relationships in the locker room?
Well, actually, he kind of stuck his foot in his mouth, so to speak. When we went up to Norfolk, Virginia, we visited the VA hospital up in Hampton. And throughout the VA hospital, they have a barbershop. And so we went into the barbershop. There were two barbers in there, and we were just kind of having a good time and talking. And then Fadul said, well, if we win the conference, I'll shave my head. And so we all kind of laughed and joked about it, ha, 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 funny. Well, once we got on the roll and started looking up, like, Fadul, you did say that you were going to cut your hair. And so obviously, with the win against Howard last week, we clinched the best record in the MEAC. And he was a man of his word. He pulled the clippers out in the locker room, and off went that curly red hair of his. So, but again, it just shows the camaraderie of this team. Just shows how close those guys are. They were all excited to be a part of that. And just like singing Elijah Richardson's singing his son happy birthday the week before, this is a great group of guys who love being around one another. And I feel that that's why we've had the success that we've had on the field this year.
It's time now for a quick commercial break. And when we come up, we'll get Coach Simmons' thoughts on the upcoming matchup against the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. This has been the WANM Sports presents the Coach Willie Simmons Show. This is the WANM Sports presents the Coach Willie Simmons Show. I'm Calvin Sykes, and Coach Simmons is posting the hot seat. So rivalries are often those games that need to be won on the field. So what does rivalry mean to the game of football?
Well, it's definitely one of the most pressure-packed times of the year. Whether you're in high school, college, or even professionally, we all come to love and look forward to these rivalry games. And just about every program has it. A lot of times it's in-state, so again, you have two teams that are in the same state that recruit the same student athletes that meet once a year on the football field. And you have it at every level, at the Power 5 level, at the Group of 5 level, and even now at our level, at the FCS level. And so Florida A&M and Bethune is one of the biggest rivalries out there at any level. You're talking about the two premier HBCUs in the state of Florida, the only two Division I FCS programs in the state of Florida that give scholarships. And so it's a rivalry that's been going on for a long time. There are many family ties. You have families you have Rattlers on one side of the family, Wildcats on the other side, sometimes even intermarital. You have a husband who went to FAM, a wife who went to Bethune, or vice versa. And again, we all recruit the same guys. And so it's definitely an intense rivalry. It's one that everyone circles on their calendar every single year. The Florida Blue Florida Classic has become a rite of passage for every Rattler and every Wildcat. And, of course, with the way the series has gone, here recently, there's a lot more of an emphasis for Florida A&M to get back on the winning side. And so we're definitely excited about this game. We've been closed-mouthed about it all season. We get asked questions about it, next game up. We have not mentioned the name Bethune-Cookman for 10 straight weeks, and that's why we've been able to win the games that we won. Now it's here. There's no more ducking it, no more hiding. We're excited about this week, and we're looking forward to going down to Orlando and fighting to finish and finishing this season the way that we all see fit to, and that's to be 10-1, 8-0 in conference play, and be the unanimous choice for Black College National Champs.
So Cookman has had the Rattlers number for the past 8 years. So what has caused the Rattlers to lose for 8 years in a row?
Oh, well, again, just, they've outplayed us, obviously. And, when you go into a game like that, right with rivalry games, you can throw the records out the window. It comes down to which team is better prepared, which team can handle the emotions of the game. There a lot of times there's swings, ebbs and flows. There's momentum shifts. Who can manage those and who can make the plays that need to be made. I think last year, looking back at the game, we didn't make the plays that we needed to make when it was time to make them. We were very poor on third down. We had a lot of short yardage situations where we didn't capitalize. 3 or 4 red zone opportunities where we didn't come away with points. And some of our better playmakers didn't necessarily have their best games. And so, again, this week is about the preparation that we need to be successful on Saturday, about doing the little things right. And it always goes back to that. We're not going to change our blueprint or our game plan this week because it's the Florida Classic. We're going to do the same thing that we've done for the last 10 weeks, which is take it one day at a time, focus on the little things, control what we can control, prepare ourselves to be as good as we can be on Saturday, and then when we kick the ball off, when they spot the ball, let's go out and play our best game and give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
Akevius Williams, a dual threat player, leading the offense there. So how were you guys going and trying to slow him down?
Well, again, it's about understanding his strengths and weaknesses and putting the game plan together that minimizes his strengths and tries to maximize his weaknesses. And so he's a very athletic guy, a dual threat guy, can beat you with his arm as well as his legs. And so whenever you have a guy like that, you have to account for him in the running game, which means adding an extra hat, which puts a little bit more pressure on the defensive backs because they don't necessarily have the help that they would have against a quarterback who doesn't run the ball as well. And so I know our defensive staff will have a great game plan put together like they've done all year. And it's just a matter of our guys going out, executing that plan, knowing what Bethune is going to do before they do it, and then putting our players in position to make plays, and then, of course, making them when the time comes.
With this being fighting to finish as a mantra now, final game coming down, how do you limit the distractions to go and focus for Saturday?
Well, again, it's all about putting things in perspective.
Okay.
We worked extremely hard since we reported to camp on August 1st for this weekend, for this moment. And so the guys have been unselfish. They blocked out distractions all year long. We got one more week to do it. Let's put everything else to the side, aside from our academics, aside from the things that we have to do as far as being a student athlete, and let's focus on the task at hand, which is be better than Bethune-Cookman come 3:30 on Saturday. And so we keep that mindset. We control what we can control. We be where our feet are, like we've talked about all year. Then I think we'll be just fine.
When we return, we'll get to know the man behind the headphones. This is the WANM Sports presents the Coach Willie Simmons Show. Welcome back. So during halftime, Coach Simmons, your household will be adding another girl to the family. So where did the whole idea of the gender reveal come from?
Well, it came from my wife. Obviously, during football season, I don't have enough time to think about ideas like that. But she wanted to do something to include Rattler Nation. We tried to find the best way to do that. Obviously, gender reveals have become kind of a big thing here as of late, and we thought, what way can we include Rattler Nation? And we decided to do a football-themed gender reveal. The challenge was to figure out what was the most appropriate time to do it. It's senior day, so you don't want to do it before the game and take anything away from the seniors because they deserve their moment. After the game, people are trying to get out of here and go tailgate and do other things, so we didn't want to keep them out of into the stadium to partake in that. And so we decided on halftime. The tough thing about halftime is you want to make sure that you're comfortable in the game, that you're up. Of course, if we were losing or if it was a close game, people might think, why are you worried about a gender reveal? It's a close ball game. You better figure out how to go win it. So fortunately for us, we were up 17-0. We had a comfortable lead. It wasn't a huge lead. We still knew we had to play a lot of ball, but it was a comfortable enough lead where I think the fans understood that we were trying to include them in it. It had a lot more drama to it than we anticipated. Of course, with the First Lady taking a face full of the pink dust. But just a great moment. Felt great to really share that with Rattler Nation. And I know it's something that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
So, Coach, now I want to dive into kind of what wives play in the role of, coaches like yourself. So what role do they play in the family while you're obviously out, day to day, coaching the team, making sure we guys win on everything?
Well, they have a very, very important role. One, they're kind of our buffer. When we work pressure-packed jobs, of course, during this time of year, we all see what happens in college football and professionally, and even at the high school level, with coaches losing their jobs and transitioning. So it's a very stressful occupation that we have. So for them, a lot of times it's being that de-stressor. We come home, back to our normal place with our family, with our wives, significant others, and they kind of relax us. That's one of the main roles they have. But aside from that, a lot of times it's managing the finances. It's making sure that the kids are going to school and being fed properly and clothed and all those things and preparing dinner for the whole family. We get home a lot of times after scheduled dinner times, and so it's them preparing the meals, having the house clean and tidied up and all those things. So they play a pivotal role, and as well as being extended moms for these players. That's one of the roles that often get overlooked, is them having to be an extra mother for these guys. And you'll be surprised at how many of them open up to our wives, even more so than us a lot of times. When my wife comes, those players just gravitate to her, and they don't mind telling her about the things that are going on in their lives. She asks them personal things, they'll tell her, and a lot of times it's her telling me what one of my players is going through, because they don't feel comfortable all the time talking to us because of that dynamic between player and coach. They may think it'll affect their playing time or something like that. So, again, they have a very, very important role. A lot of times, oftentimes more important even than our roles as coaches, because if your home life is bad, it's going to probably affect your ability to come to work every day and do a good job. So kudos to all the wives out there who hold it down for all of us coaches, who keep us happy, keep a smile on our face, that support us through everything that we go through, long hours, job changes, all of those things, and continue to be our number one supporter. So, again, big-time kudos to all the wives out there that are listening in, that know what it's like to be a coach's wife.
Coach Simmons, I want to thank you for your time and best of luck against the Wildcats this week. This has been the WANM Sports, produced the Coach Willie Simmons Show.